Okay, so what I did here is these are going to be the connections for the A-arms, and they are made out of 2.5-inch square tubing. And what I did is I cut a 1-inch piece, stuck it on there, welded, cut this piece off, put it on top of that one, welded, cut this off, stuck it on that one and welded, cut this one off, and then I just did all of them like that. The reason I did that is because if I were to just cut one side out and then weld the plate on, that would have been a little too difficult, because once you cut one side of the square tubing, it folds in, because you lose that one side, so it folds in. So I didn't want to do that because I wanted to have an even space. So by welding this piece in, it retained its distance. 1/2-inch holes. So let me clean these all up and throw them on the A-arms. Well, everybody, this is what we've got so far. I have the left arms as I'm sitting in it. I've got the left arms and I've got the right arms, and polished up the connections. These will be welded directly onto the frame. That. And you'll see that the connection points are offset. Top arms they're going to be 6 inches away from each other, and then hopefully my pivot for my rack and pinion will go about right here. Well, actually it would be in here, but it'll be in line with these. We'll be taking the shock. When these are up, shock will be going down like that. I want to put the shock not necessarily all the way out as far as I can go, but maybe 1/3 of the way up the arm, because I don't want a lot of stroke on this. If I put the shock way up here, then I get more stroke out of it, but I don't want that much, so I'm going to have to figure it out. Because these things will collapse up to almost 1 3/4 to 2 inches. So I have to play around with that idea. But now, next after these, it's going to become time to start building the frame. And yeah, I got to cut out some of these pieces. See, my bung, actually it's not even a bung. For those of you who went and watched the other video that was over on Blip, you can see that I used these things instead. And I did exactly what I said I was going to do on that other video. So, those of you who are, instead of purchasing the expensive bungs for these hem joints, this is one idea to use, but I would suggest that you go over and watch that video that I was talking about, because I did have to put oil on this and all that kind of stuff. So, that's exactly what I did. By the time I'm done, the A-arm, the bottom A-arm will be at 20 degrees, the top one will be at 24. The spindle connection point, let me throw that together here quick. Once these are mounted, and they're mounted in the correct spot, my spindle, I got, as they are designed, if I were to put my brackets directly above each other, then I would have about 1 or 2 degrees of caster. But I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be welding these on the bottom, these up on the top, and from the frame, as the frame comes out, from the edge of the frame to this first one will be a 1/2 inch. Up here it'll be welded 1 inch away, which will create more of a caster down there. So let me show you the paperwork here. As they sit, hopefully you guys can see this. As they sit, the top arm will be at 24, the bottom arm will be at 20 degrees from the frame. The spindle will be at 95 degrees camber. Actually, it's 5 degrees camber. And from the side profile here, my caster, even so it says 86 degrees, but it's actually 4 degrees caster. Caster at 40 degrees, or at 4 degrees. And the distance will be 1/2 inch on the bottom and 1 inch on the top. I'm only putting 4 degrees caster in this thing because if I've got the front end and I've got a few degrees caster there and then I've got the back end will pivot down once you sit in it. That will create more caster in the front end. Now if I had independent suspension, you know, these things on the rear end, then I'd want to put that caster in there more. But since the angle of the machine from the weight of people, you know, a person getting in it, and the engine, all that kind of stuff, will probably cause the machine to collapse slightly, which will cause create more caster. Just like what had happened with Cody's go-kart when I was building that. And the thing slouched down because of, you know, the person sitting in it. Heck, it created like 10 degrees caster, and man, that thing was just a little, you know, it's a little hard to steer if you're an adult, but for him, you know, it's great. So now that I got these done, well, not completely done, I gotta hack some stuff up and see right down inside of there. God, it's just all messy, so I might take a few pieces of steel and hide that so it's not so messy looking. I can't get in there. I don't have a Dremel tool, so that's where I'm at on this so far, guys. And this is taking, these things were pretty difficult just because it comes down to alignment. So yeah, I've been working on these things for like the past 4 days since I did that last video. I've been coming out here every day since that last video working on these dang things. One of them, I don't know which one it is. One of these I had to completely chop apart, redo it. Yeah, but the hardest part about these things is just the alignment, keeping everything lined up. This one here, the bottom A-arm, from where the bolt is placed, from where the frame is going to go. Where's my squirt? Do I have any chunks in it? Yeah, okay. Let's say this is the, this out of the way. Let's say this is the frame right here. This, from the edge of the frame to the bolt, is a 1/2 inch. Up here, it's 1 3/4 inches. So you can see how they're aligned differently. This one is 1 3/4 inches from the frame, and the other one is 1/2 inch. Yeah. So once I get the frame all built up, then I'll be putting these up against there, weld them into place, and then I'll have articulationating arms. Boing, 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 boing. Yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So there you go, guys. Just a simple little update on what the A-arms of the Fullscreen machine. I'm gonna go inside and do some more of this video. So see you guys inside. Well, okay. So I got that camera propped up in front of the computer here, and if it's hard for you guys to see, you can click on the little icon below the video here, the little gear icon, and change your resolution so that we hopefully will be able to see this a little better. But what I've got here is I've got my camber, and I have it adjusted so that way the distance here in this area is roughly about the distance of the nut that's in place that's going to be there. So I'm looking at about 5 degrees of camber, and that can be adjusted, you know, with my hem joints, you know, bringing them out more, or, you know, well, yeah, bringing them out because they can't go in further. But as they're set up now, let me go over to the parts assembly here. Let's zoom in. Now I have a mate, a distance mate, angled distance mate associated with these arms. So if I leave my shock where it's at, we're looking at about 2 inches of travel there. So I'm going to grab my bar and I'm going to bring up my 2 inches of travel, which is be about right there. Okay. Well, just for argument's sake, let's say I'm going to bring it all the way up to the point to where it stops. That's where my almost parallel there. Okay. So my distance mate will actually allow me only to do this. I can't go lower and I can't go higher. So let's bring it back to color. Okay, see what's going on here? So my arm's articulating. Now at say full bump, which is about right there. Yes. Rebuild. Okay. Now I'm going to come back over here to the drawing and I want to show you guys something here. Now my camber changes as it goes up. And you can see here that it's at 94 degrees. So my camber changes. I lose camber at full bump. And depending if I bring this bar all the way up, it should, if I bring my all the way up to full level, and I save that, rebuild, yes, rebuilding all the information, and you see there it's at 93 degrees now, so I actually lose 2 degrees at this estimated full bump. Now I've looked around for information to see whether or not that's good or that's bad, and I haven't come across anything. So yeah, maybe you guys can tell me, is it okay to lose camber at full bump? I mean, it's only 2 degrees, and I've played around with it a little bit, and it seems to be, I can't get it any better than that. Well, I probably could if I, well, no, I can't, because it's always going to change no matter what. So, what do you guys think? A 2 degree loss in camber at full bump? I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I don't know whether or not it's good or bad to have a loss of bump steer. I'm assuming that you want to keep your camber completely even. I don't know, because I've tried looking around on the internet here and I can't seem to find any information. Yeah, maybe you guys can tell me. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? I've had a few people out there ask me why am I calling it the Fullscreen machine, and the primary reason is because Fullscreen doesn't really have much of a platform for automotive. So I thought, I've already contacted them and asked them about it, and they don't really have much of a foundation for, you know, automotive. So I thought, why not turn around and try to help them out, help out the network a little bit by doing this. They don't seem to have a problem with it. You know, I contacted George Strompolis, I think that's how it's pronounced, and told him that I was going to be building a machine, and I plan on naming it after Fullscreen, if you guys don't mind. And he didn't. He's like, that's cool. So that's all right. At first, when I joined up at Fullscreen, I was really like, whoa, hold on a second. No, I don't like this at all. But as time went by and I was looking into other networks, I'm kind of glad I'm with Fullscreen now. You know, it's the thing is with Fullscreen is that Fullscreen, they don't hold your hand. You know, a lot of these people will join networks thinking that what can the network do for me? Well, see, networks aren't. See, when it comes to joining a network, it's not it should not be a situation of what the network can do for me. It's what can you do for the network? How can you help the network grow? And if you're there and you do it, then most of the time you get rewarded for it. You know, they help you out, you help them out, they help you out. So I thought, well, why not help Fullscreen, you know, help that network lay a foundation in the automotive industry, because most of their stuff that I've looked into is, well, they have a few sub-networks for gaming. So they've got the gaming area covered. Comedy, they got a lot of comedy, and they've got a lot of vlogging. So, but they don't have hardly anything in the automotive industry. So I thought, why not, you know? I'll help them do that. So that's why I'm naming it the Fullscreen machine. Now some of you have asked me certain questions about this build and stuff, and I'm not going to get into that until I get to that point in the build. Like tires, some of you have watched the other video that I put out, and I'll leave a link below this video to that video that some of you have already seen over on Blip. So if you haven't seen that, you can go check that one out. Yeah, there are other questions and stuff that some of you have asked me about, and I'm not going to get into those until I get to that point in the build. But anyways, guys, I thought I'd like to welcome all my new subscribers. I hope you guys enjoy the content that I'm putting out, which does remind me of an excuse I've used on so many of my ex-girlfriends. If you don't put out, nothing ever gets done. But anyways, guys, I'm going to get on out of here. I want to go take a shower, and I got to edit this video and put it up. So I'll talk with you guys later. And thumbs up this video, comment down below, let me know on this camber here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.